872-323.
LA 21 12670. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12682. Offices in Baton Rouge. Anytime. Anytime. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Now, here's Charles Sandegriff.
Dun, 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 dun. NFL time, baby. We're starting the NFL season tonight. Welcome to Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Sandegriff, Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp. Happy for the beginning of the NFL season. I know the college football is the bigger deal here, but I'm personally pretty happy that we start 18 weeks. 18 weeks, 4.5 months of professional football. If you're more of a college guy, it's okay. That's why they put them on different days. See, there's no college games tonight. You can go roll with the Thursday games. There's so much in this week one to get to. You like home underdogs? If you like home underdogs, this weekend is for you. 10 home underdogs. That's the most in week one. That's the most in the Super Bowl era. So if you like home dogs, which, by the way, have converted at a 56.4% ratio in the win percentage against the spread the last 10 years, home underdogs have covered 56.4% of the times. That will make you a winner. A big winner, but a winner if that keeps up. And if you like divisional home underdogs, now you're really good. See, here's where I'm trying to help you out, all right? Divisional home underdogs last 10 years, 13-2-1 against the spread. Now you're making real money. But 13-2-1 against the spread in 10 years. 16 games where you've had divisional home underdogs in 10 years. So one and a half a year, basically. That's 3 for you this weekend, okay? Let me tell you how exciting this is. You like home underdogs? You want to make money? All right. You get to take the Falcons, the Texans, and the Vikings. Okay, that's less exciting. But there's plenty to like. You know, the Rams are a home underdog tonight. Super Bowl champs. The Super Bowl champs in week one have been an underdog 5 times in the Super Bowl era in week one. You know how many times they've covered tonight's number 5? You know how many times they've covered in the previous 4, Mario? Take a guess.
4.
All of them.
Yep.
That is correct. What we got here is something that's pretty cool because it doesn't happen very often either, is you have the defending Super Bowl champions against the favorites for the next season. The Rams won last year. The Bills are the Vegas favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. When's the last time that happened? 2013. Ravens defending Super Bowl champions against the Broncos. That was Peyton Manning's second year there. And if you remember, they had lost that crazy double overtime game in the playoffs the year before. And so Denver was favored to win the Super Bowl, but the Ravens were coming off of their Super Bowl victory. So home dogs, you got a lot of those to choose from. And I hate that the Falcons fall into this little category here because, like, hey, man, I got something that's hitting at like an 85% clip. Okay, what is it? Well, you got to bet the Falcons. I don't want to have to root against the Saints in week number 1. But there's plenty of other spots to get into. If I can't interest you in the Falcons, and I can understand why not, can I interest you in the Bears? Bears are catching a touchdown at home against the 49ers. So here's some of the questions I got. Mario, let me see if I can pepper you here. 49ers and Bears. Which quarterback will start more games in this season? Trey Lance or Justin Fields?
Oh, if I had to pick one, I'd maybe go Justin Fields, just because I don't think putting Trevor Siemian in the game is going to be very, very beneficial in very many situations. So I'd probably go Justin Fields. But
yeah, no Trevor Siemian love from me either. And if Fields is healthy, he's going to be in the game. Lance at some point could be a healthy scratch or a healthy backup. The Niners told you that last week when they called Garoppolo in from this field that he was working out. It's almost like he was working out at some high school on his own. Hey, Jimmy, back over here. Got about $7 million if you're interested. Yes, very much interested. Bengals went to the Super Bowl last year, opened with the Steelers. They are at home. Cincinnati, a 6.5-point favorite right now for Joe Burrow and Joe Burrow's new offensive line. I got a confession to make, okay? In 2 fantasy leagues, just 2, all right? Not going to get, invited to be in half. Nope, 2. That's it. I overdrafted Joe Burrow. You know why? Because I wanted Joe Burrow on my team. I drafted Joe. Looking down my list, there were 4 other quarterbacks that were ranked ahead of him, and I took Joe Burrow anyway. You know why? Because I want to root for Joe Burrow. But that's not my question. My question is, will this be the first losing season for Mike Tomlin with Pittsburgh?
I would say yes. He's had some 8-8s in there, right? So it's not like he hasn't gotten close.
He won't go 500, I promise you.
And Mitch Trubisky was named the starting quarterback recently. Might be counting on Kenny Pickett more down the road. Either way, I don't feel great about either one of those situations. And they made some acquisitions here and there, but offensive line still not very good. Najee Harris is a beast, but besides that, not really feeling Pittsburgh at all. So I would say yes, they're going to have their first losing season under my Tom.
You could have stopped at Mitchell Trubisky, okay? Mm-hmm. That was a powerful argument that they're going to have a losing season. But I've got faith in that organization. There are very few organizations in professional sports that are as solid as and as stable as the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, you can almost count them on one hand. It's the Steelers, the Ravens, the Patriots, the Packers, the San Antonio Spurs, the St. Louis Cardinals. You know, you just look over there, they put the bird on the bat, and they win, 55% of their games. It's just what they do. I'm going with Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin is a fantastic head coach. I think he's perennially underrated. We did this whole comparison when Sean Payton retired, okay? If you think Sean Payton is a good coach, a Hall of Fame coach, and there's an argument to be made there, okay? Payton, right now, if he doesn't coach again, is a borderline Hall of Fame coach. And you say, well, borderline. Yes, there are coaches that have multiple Super Bowls that are not in yet. So, but you look at Payton's overall record. When he retired, you look at Tomlin's record, it's almost identical. I mean, there's not 6 inches of difference between their 2 records. So if you liked what Payton did, Tomlin has essentially done the same thing. There's a little bit of difference. Tomlin's been to 1 more Super Bowl. Payton kind of got screwed out of it on the call, but you look at the division title, it's very, very close. I got faith in Mike Tomlin.
Speaking of people that have been good as underdogs, Mike Tomlin throughout his career.
Yeah. If you're not expecting it, underestimate the Pittsburgh Steelers at your own peril. That's one. I'm just kind of bullish on the organization. All right, Eagles in the lines. You watching Hard Knocks?
A little bit.
For the 10th consecutive season, I've watched 0 of Hard Knocks. Now, I caught about 15 minutes of the first one. It seems to me like the Hard Knocks team always gets a little bit more of a push because you've been watching them for 4 weeks if you do watch that stuff. No, but my question with Eagles and Lions is, will Jalen Hurts be the starting quarterback next season?
No.
In other words, what kind of years? Taylor, you say no.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Now they went out and got this guy a lot of help here. The Eagles, you go out and you trade for A.J. Brown. You have used multiple picks on wide receivers in the first round. It's a pretty good roster. They were in the playoffs last year. You think that at the end of the season they're gonna move on?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I know they got him weapons. It's not going to help him throw the ball.
Well, he threw it well enough a year ago to get him into the playoffs. I'm 50-50 on Hurts, okay, if he's going to let. And the reason it's such a sense of urgency is because the Eagles have accumulated all of this draft ammunition next year with a little bit of help from the New Orleans Saints, obviously, that if they want to make a move up the board for a quarterback, next year's probably it. It's a quarterback-heavy draft. So if they don't like Hurts, this next year draft is where they've got enough ammunition to move up. I'm 50-50 on Hurts. They have put a lot of pieces around him, but not as many pieces as the Miami Dolphins went out. It was almost like Tua Tagovailoa went out on a shopping spree, okay? Tyreek Hill is the big one. Went out and got Terron Armstead, went out and got Connor Williams, went out and got Chase Edmonds, went out and got Raheem Mostert. And I think one of the more underrated moves is they went out and got Cedric Wilson, who will be their number 3 receiver. He had a good year in Dallas last year. Basically, I think there's more pressure on Tua than there is on Hurts. Hurts has got a little bit more under his belt. He's got a little bit more success here. You get to the end of the season and the Eagles make the playoffs again, but they lose in the first round. The Eagles are going to have a real decision to make on Hurts, because then you're talking about a guy who's made back-to-back playoffs. Tua doesn't have that issue. If you got him all of these toys to play with and he doesn't get there, then Miami moves on, right? So my question is, same as with the Eagles. Will Tua be the starting quarterback when they start the 2023 season?
Man, I'm going to go ahead and say no, be a little bold. It's similar to Trey Lance and Jimmy G in that Tua might be looking over his shoulder a little bit because they signed Teddy Bridgewater to be the backup in Miami this year. And he's somebody who has proven if you put a good team around him, some good receivers like the Dolphins do, he can be serviceable. And that could affect Tua's play this season, which wouldn't be good for his standing going in the next season. So I would say no. He will not.
I'll say yeah. I'll say he will be.
Yeah, I actually think that Hurts has got a better chance to survive in Philadelphia than Tua does in Miami. If Teddy Bridgewater if you told me right now Teddy Bridgewater was going to be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins for all 17 games this season, which of course nobody can guarantee, but if you told me that he was, I'd say the Dolphins are a playoff team. With Tua, maybe not. Maybe it's a higher ceiling, but it's also a much lower floor. I know what I'm getting with Teddy. Teddy ain't going to screw me up. You give Teddy all these weapons. We saw it in New Orleans. Teddy is a professional quarterback. Tua, maybe not. We'll see. Ravens and the Jets. Now, they have announced that you're going to get Joe Flacco through 4 weeks. So the Jets, as usual, are starting off on a wonderful path here. Browns and the Panthers. Baker Mayfield coming. He's downplaying this matchup. What would you say if you man, Baker Mayfield is really upset? He is out to get the Browns. What's your reaction to that?
Okay. Let's see him try. Honestly.
It's like so.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if Tom Brady's pissed off, then I'm worried. Okay. If somebody, if Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes is really upset, oh man, that's a problem. Baker Mayfield's mad. Okay, we'll deal with it. So here's my two biggest predictions. Two predictions and a question. I'm gonna get at least one of these predictions right. Hold me to it. Okay, we don't want to do the blue book, but just hold me to it. Best game of the weekend: Raiders and Chargers. These teams played a fantastic game to end the regular season last year. I can tell you right now, any game in the AFC West, I'm watching. And I think that'll be the best game of the weekend. And Bucks Cowboys, here's my prediction for that. Giselle ain't going. I'm getting that one right. Okay? Giselle will not be in attendance. Last question is, we had cut down day, right? Okay. One NFL team had 11 players that they cut get picked up off of waivers. Now, for a comparison's sake, the Saints had one, okay? It was only the quarterback, Ian Book. Everybody else cleared waivers, okay? This team had 11 players that they released and get picked up by other teams, and that team is?
Just for comedic purposes, I'm going to guess the Jaguars.
Okay, you're on the right track. It's not right, but you're on the right track. Taylor, you want to shout at this?
I think I read this. Is it the Jets?
It is the Jets, okay? I would have guessed 29 teams before I would have guessed the Jets. You think teams that have a lot of players picked up off of waivers, those are the good teams, right? Tell me this is the Bills. Tell me this is the Packers. Tell me this is the Niners. No. The Jets had 11 players that were not good enough to play for the Jets, but are good enough to play for other teams, which means the Jets think that they have 11 players on their team that are better than players that other teams picked up. And given the track record of the New York Jets, I would say that on at least 8 of those 11 players, they are probably wrong. Ready for football to start. Got Chris Rosvoglu from Boot Crew Media with covering the New Orleans Saints. He's with us next. Reggie Flood from Jaguar Journal is going to talk LSU and Southern at the bottom of the hour. We'll take your questions at the end of the show in the YouTube chat. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny time.
You know, I bought my last two vehicles from Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. And you know why? Went to the pre-owned lot and got such a fantastic deal. You know, I've gotten so much mileage out of this vehicle because you get up to 6 years unlimited mileage warranty. And the first year basic maintenance is complimentary. They're going to put your vehicle through a 167-point inspection. That's why years later, I'm still getting quality service out of my vehicle that I got at Infinity of Baton Rouge. You get a free 3-month trial subscription to Sirius XM, emergency roadside system, complimentary service vehicle when you need to have service done. And I can't tell you how big of a deal that is. You want to bring your car in for service. You don't want to wait on it. You don't have time to do that. You don't want to have somebody go in, pick you up, and have to, hey, a complimentary vehicle is invaluable. Also sell and serve all makes and models, and they've got extensive inventory on the used lot right now. So go on and check them out with transparent pricing at Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks.
Join us for a Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill. The NFL season is upon us. We talk with Luke Johnson at 1:30 and give you our Super Bowl picks. Hunt and Hill, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
NFL season starting tonight with the Bills and the Rams. Hey, we'll be out at Jolie Pearl for Jimmy Odd's Game Time. We're starting at 6 o'clock tonight. And in addition to it being the first first game of the NFL season, we've also got our Supreme Rice promotion going on tonight. We'll be giving away the 2-pound sample bags as long as they last. Anybody that comes in, we're going to be giving away some swag, some shirts, some hats. We're going to be giving away some gift cards from Jolie Pearl. Come on down downtown Baton Rouge. We're going to be watching the Bills and the Rams. No college football tonight. Look, colleges, the NFL clears out a Labor Day weekend for the colleges, and the colleges clear out of NFL's Thursday night game to open the season with the Bills and the Rams. You know, Sean McVay has got a pretty good record in games where he's an underdog, pretty good record in opening games as well. And if the Super Bowl champions are an underdog in week number 1, we gave you this stat in the opening segment, then they are 4-0. This is the 5th time it's happened in the Super Bowl era. They're 4-0 against the number. The news did come out yesterday, though, about Matthew Stafford having an elbow procedure in the offseason. Now, earlier in this training camp, we heard that Stafford was having some, not pain, it was called something abnormal. It was something that certainly caught my attention because you don't often hear that with regard to starting quarterbacks. He's got an abnormal deal in his elbow. He made all the throws in the camp, but he sat out some time. It doesn't make him unique. That's happened a number of times. You get a veteran quarterback, and you know that you're just not going to throw every day. There's no reason for Matthew Stafford to throw every day. But having him on some kind of different throwing program was a little bit eye-catching, a little bit different. And then we saw the Rams obviously get into that huge brawl with the Cincinnati Bengals, and teams that are built the way the Rams are. They're built with a big veteran presence. They're built to win now, and when you got a quarterback that you've got that kind of investment in, then man, look, if something goes sideways with him, then that's basically your whole season. So, Mario, you had no? Okay. No. All right. We had to push. Chris had something come up. So
he did.
So we're gonna push him. Hopefully to another segment. But what I can tell you about the Saints is that Michael Thomas is trying to play in this game. His comments yesterday were that he expects to play in this game. We haven't seen him in a full practice session since the middle of August, and he didn't play in any of the Saints' preseason games. But they think that he's going to play in this game. We haven't heard anything more about Marcus May since the road rage incident or whatever it was. We expect that May will be in the starting lineup. We expect that James Hurst will be in the starting lineup at left tackle. He had missed some time during camp. It's the first opportunity to see the Saints in their full form. We never saw them, even for a short period of time in the preseason, which, again, is okay. But other than that, losing Trevor Penning hurt because we don't expect that we're going to see him back anytime soon. And if they do get him back, what kind of football shape is he going to be in? And then there was going to be the ramp up anyway. So what you've got here is you've got James Hurst and maybe Andrus Peat as your backup tackle or something to happen to Hurst. But outside of Penning, they came through the camp in decent shape. And so we're hoping to see all of those players that were a little bit compromised. Whether it be Peyton Turner, be Marcus Davenport, be it Alvin Kamara. We expect to see all that. It's the first time we've seen them all.
Having Davenport and Peyton Turner both not on the injury report, I feel like was such a big win.
It's almost like it was an omission, right? That you were not going to have you're not going to have the stalwarts. You know, it's just you kind of pencil them in. To imagine having all of your guys. What a wonderful thing. Jameis Winston was pretty animated. He was doing anatomy lessons yesterday after practice, going through his deal with the media. I got to tell you, watching Jameis Winston, he looks like a confident guy. He looks like he is in shape. He looks like he is not feeling any ill effects for the injury. I'm excited to see him with all these weapons. I'm excited to see him healthy. I'm excited to see him with an offensive coordinator that he's got a lot of comfort with. There's a big write-up about Pete Carmichael yesterday from down in New Orleans. Carmichael has had a terrific amount of success in the limited amount of times that he's been able to call plays for the Saints. So I'm encouraged about that. I'm a little nervous about, you know, what is going on in the secondary, because what you had from, you know, a week and a half ago, Marcus May is his long-term availability going to be in question? I don't know the answer to that yet. And when you trade out Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for nothing that's going to help you with this year's team, then that's a little bit of a concern too. But everywhere else, I feel pretty good about New Orleans. I am less excited about hearing that stat about how well the underdogs cover in the division in week number 1. Falcons are a 5.5-point underdog at this point. So Saints and the Falcons noon on Sunday. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
You're going to have to watch high school football this Friday night somewhere in the Denham Springs area. Check out Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill. It's kid-friendly in the restaurant section, and they're open late after high school football. We love Big Mike's, man. Daily lunch specials. If you're going out today, it's a hot ham and cheese po' boy. I know Mike's out in the kitchen cooking himself. Going to be a great weekend at Big Mike's. Floyd Brown in the Big Bar on Friday night, because there's live music every Friday night at Big Mike's. You're going to watch the LSU and Southern game on Saturday. The party continues after the game with a DJ in the Big Bar. And if you're going out to watch the Saints and the Falcons, it's happy hour all day on Sunday for NFL action. Kids friendly, family owned, and you know you're gonna get happy hour prices on Sundays, but you're also gonna get them Monday through Friday from 3 until 7. Big Mike's on Aspen Drive in Denham Springs. Check them out.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance.
available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste.
NFL is back. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on Hanny Time, we bring in our friend Reggie Flood from WBOK in New Orleans with the sports report, and also with longtime host of the Jaguar Journal on Talk 107.3 on Sunday mornings. Reggie, good afternoon. How are you? You know, you and I go back a ways. So between all of the games we've covered here, what did you think the odds were that we'd ever see LSU and Southern actually play a football game?
As I read an article today, hell freezing over and donkeys flying.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between those odds.
Reggie, you'll remember back to 2003 when LSU and Southern both won a national championship. There was a parade for the two teams. The bands were there. It was downtown Baton Rouge. It was a fantastic thing. And then afterwards, we were talking with Pete Richardson, and it was like, hey, would the teams ever play? And he was like, absolutely not. That's not going to do us any good. But things have changed in the 2 decades since then. So what does this game mean for Southern?
I think it's according to who you ask. I'm sure if you ask the athletic director from the reported numbers, I'm sure he's saying, hey, it's good for the budget. If you ask the younger generation, they're fired up about it. They're looking at it and they're excited about it. If you ask people probably over 45, they're not too enthused. So it's a mixed bag for Southern itself. For the university, like I said, for the athletic department, it's a windfall. It's not the first time they played a money game, but the uniqueness of playing LSU and LSU being right across town and, being in the same city, that's something different. But I think overall, if you polled each segment of the fan base, you would get a different reaction out of it.
Being able to play across town, it obviously cuts, your expenses so dramatically for the game. So when you take about this influx of cash that goes into the athletic department, where's some of this money earmarked? Where are some of the places that Southern needs it the most?
I would guess that it would probably be toward the Olympic sports, just like every other, small athletic program. Football pays the bills for everybody. So I would think that it would be included to help, the Olympic sports, the non-revenue sports.
Tell us your impressions of Eric Dooley in his first year as a Southern head coach. He was an assistant there for a long time, a good portion of the Pete Richardson era, and he was an assistant coach during that 2003 championship season we just talked about. Your thoughts on him as a head coach?
I think Coach Dooley is a very competent guy. I think Southern is where he's wanted to be. He said that it's his dream job. And so I think he's taken he has a new kind of vigor about it. He's been very aggressive in recruiting. He wants the best. He wants the university to look well. And I think at the end of the day, Coach Dooley's going to give it everything he has because this is his dream job. This is where he wants to be, and he wants to be there for a while.
86 points. I had to look up in the box score, and I understand it's an NAIA school, but 86 points is tough to score in a scrimmage when you know what's coming. Give me an idea of what kind of I expected to look in the box score and see a ton of turnovers and pick sixes and maybe some punt returns, kick returns or something. Well, they just scored a bunch of points, man. Tell me about last week's game.
It was hard to get a gauge on last week's game. The offense can be potent. We obviously scoring 86 points. But what I was most impressed with were the skilled players. They were able to do exactly what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. Sean McCray was in total control of the offense. You could tell he was in command of it. He knew what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. He was committed to it. And I think that it's playing against the NAIA school like Florida Memorial. I don't know if it really told a lot about this team, but I think it gave them an opportunity to gain some confidence.
LSU and Southern this Saturday at Tiger Stadium. All right, I get a question a day. No, more than one question a day about the bands. And Gordy Rush is our band aficionado over here, but I'm gonna have to ask for some help. Surely you, with your plethora of sources, has unearthed something about what kind of show we're going to see this weekend. So
you know what, Charles?
You don't.
I have no idea. Now what I do understand is this: they will do separate shows, and then they will do a unity show together after they do their separate shows.
All right. Well, and that's kind of what we're expecting. I told our receptionist, Judy, who is the biggest Southern fan in the city. I mean, y'all have seen Lady Jag many times. I said, well, yes. the LSU football team may be favored, but the Southern band is the favorite in the halftime show. My
saying is this, Charles. The SWAC and Southern are to bands what the SEC is to football.
That's not bad. Okay, I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that right off the bat. Reggie, what's a win for Southern on Saturday? They come out of this and go, you know what? That's what we wanted. That's when we schedule this game. That's what we will hope to accomplish.
Clean play, no penalties, no injuries, no turnovers. Play your best ball game and let the chips fall where they may. And the points matter. There are no moral victories. But I think the most important thing is to play a clean ball game, limit the penalties, limit the turnovers, and come out with no injuries.
That would be a good game. I'm hoping. There's been a week's worth of activities between the two schools on the academic front, on the social front, on the financial front, and it culminates with the game. So I'm hopeful, and actually I'm pretty confident that Saturday is going to be a really good day for both schools. Reggie, I know you got to run into a meeting. We appreciate your time as always. Again, the Sports Report, WBOK in New Orleans, and the Jaguar Journal right here with us on Talk 107.3. Reggie, see you on Saturday.
Sir.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Charles. See you Saturday.
All right. Reggie Flood with the Jaguar Journal. Eric Dooley was the head coach at Prairie View for 4 years, never had a losing record in the conference. In fact, he won 2/3 of his games in SWAC play. So, and Dooley, graduate of Southern, he was an assistant coach at Southern, and now the head. He also spent a decent amount of time at Grambling, but it's been much more of his career at Southern. They got off to a terrific start last week. We'll take a break. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Infinity of Baton Rouge. When I go in to buy a vehicle, as I have done multiple times at Infinity of Baton Rouge, I'm always, worried about, I'm never worried about what the transparency pricing is going to give me, because I know I'm going to get a great deal. I'm going to get a fair deal, and it's going to be very, very easy and transparent. That's what the family owned and operated does for you. But I also know I'm going to get a vehicle that's gone through 168-point inspection. It's why I've got such great mileage out of the last vehicle I bought from Infinity of Baton Rouge. Don't worry about their inventory on the pre-owned lot, because it is stocked right now. So get on out, get onto the website. The price you see is the price you're going to get, and then get onto the lot where there is ample inventory at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. Do what I did and purchase your next vehicle. It's Infinity of Baton Rouge.
This week on DropBiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out NewOrleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark, Mike Triplett, and we'll take a closer look at the Southern Jags. Join us Thursday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on Hanny Time. Again, NFL season kicks off tonight. We'll be at Jolie Pearl, and Supreme Rice will be handing out free sample bags. We got a lot of shirts and hats and things, gift cards to give out tonight. So come on out and watch with us. Bills and the Rams for Jimmy Ott's Game Time and Supreme Rice. All right, we bring in now Chris Rosvoglu from Boot Crew Media down in New Orleans covering the Saints. Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's talk about who you expect to be on the field when the Saints play the Falcons on Sunday. Anybody who's, I can go down the list, but you know who I'm talking about here. We're talking about the Michael Thomases, the Marcus Mays. The availability, who do you expect to see out there on Sunday?
Yeah, as of now, I think Saints fans should expect to see Michael Thomas out there. He looked really sharp during Wednesday's practice, and at this point, it's just kind of monitoring what was a hamstring injury that from the jump the Saints said was never really anything major, just kind of something you expect for a player who's been out for about 2 years now with an ankle injury. Running full speed is going to take some time, but I expect him to play on Sunday. As of now, I expect Eric McCoy to be out there. Same thing for Pete Werner. The only player that I'd really be somewhat concerned as to they probably are towards the side of missing week 1 would be Paulson and Debo, but the Saints are going up against a receiving core that's not very strong in Atlanta, and I think that they can afford, if they have to, give him another week or 2 of rest. Ankle injuries, as they know, not something to really play around with. So he'd probably be on the side of, I don't expect him to play, but I do expect to see Michael Thomas out there.
Chris, your information is that for the moment the Marcus May incident is being tabled until they get some more information?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. He was asked about it yesterday, didn't really say much about it. I think it's one of those situations where they're going to let this whole legal situation play out and kind of make sure that Marcus May doesn't comment on it. In the meantime, I'd expect him to play. I mean, he had a DUI issue that stemmed from last year that still hasn't been sorted out. And while it's getting sorted out, the Saints expected him to play. So I wouldn't expect this current issue to play a matter of whether or not he's ready for week 1. Could it be a distraction for him and his own personal situation? Possibly. But the Saints have made it seem like he will play.
You know, Mario Jerez, who's on our team here, told me right before the show, he said, wasn't it refreshing to see an injury report that didn't include Marcus Davenport or Peyton Turner? And yes, absolutely, it was. So what kind of impact are you expecting those two guys to have?
Well, when it comes to Davenport, he's reached that point for me that I think it's just a matter of if he's on the field. If he's on the field, I think he's going to make a huge impact. This is a player who last year, despite only appearing in 11 games, guy had nine sacks. He had 16 quarterback hits. He was just excellent. That was the best we've seen Marcus Davenport to date. And I think you factor into what you said right now going into week 1. He's fully healthy. You add in the motivation of him playing for a new contract. It was a contract year, and he could potentially, really break open the bank if he's healthy and has a big year. As for Peyton Turner, he's in that category where I'm a little unsure. I can't definitively say right now what we're going to get out of Peyton Turner because this is a player who I thought had moments where he flashed his potential in training camp, and then the preseason rolled around and we didn't really see that potential on tape. And now we just have to wonder what's going to happen when it's a game situation. He's rotated in there. He's not going to get as many reps as a former first-round pick may because the Saints do have a very loaded defensive line when they're healthy, a lot of depth on that side of the ball. So I think this is going to be one of those situations where his snap count's not as high as maybe fans may want it to be. So I'm intrigued by his skill set. I thought when he was healthy last year, he had moments where he looked the part of a first-round pick, but after a disappointing preseason, he's someone that I want to keep an eye on.
Chris, I don't want to read too much into a post-practice media hit, but watching Jameis Winston yesterday, he certainly looked like somebody who was real comfortable with where he is in his career. Between the last preseason game where he didn't show any physical side effects of the injury to there's no competition, there is no backup that is pushing him for playing time potentially the way that they had it last year. He's healthy. He just looks like a real confident guy right now. Am I reading too much into this?
No, I don't think you're reading too much into it at all. I think the Saints have done a good job of making sure it seems that way. Like they made sure that they didn't have any quarterback controversy or quarterback battle going into training camp. They knew he'd be QB1, like you mentioned. They go out there and they invest in the wide receiver position, getting Jarvis Landry, who said he went to the Saints, and one of the reasons being was because he wanted to play with Jameis Winston, really liked his leadership qualities that he possesses. You go and get Chris Olave, who I think skill set-wise matches up the best with Jameis Winston's talent out of all their wide receivers, and they have a nice group at the moment. So I think they've done a good job of instilling that confidence in him, and I think for Jameis, I think he knows that he's changed his approach. The days of him being that home run hitter, always going for the deep ball, they're over. That doesn't mean we won't see exciting plays this year, but I think he's done a really good job, even through limited practice reps, whether it's limited preseason reps. We're seeing now that he's a little bit more patient, and when he's climbing in the pocket, he's not looking for the deep ball every single time. He's looking for what the defense is giving him. So I think that there is not even a silent comfort. He's willing to express it, the confidence that he has going into this year, and now it's up to him just showing what he can do. And I think with Pete Carmichael at the controls, if they can run the football well and lean towards the play-action game, which is a big skill set of his, I think we'll see that confidence be on display throughout the year.
Chris Rosvoglu from Boot Crew Media is our guest. Chris, when a new head coach takes over, there's usually questions about how the game mechanics will go, how the new staff will mesh. we've gotten almost none of those questions because of the continuity on this Saints staff. So when you tune in for the first time in 15 years and Sean Payton is not the head coach, what are you expecting to see? Because it does seem like a very smooth transition.
Yeah, I think for Dennis Allen, it's an interesting spot where, like you said, usually a first-year head coach, you're going to give them some time to adjust, and maybe even a full year you give them before you kind of make an opinion on it. But I think for New Orleans, we know what the defense has done under Dennis Allen. We know that they've kept a bunch of assistant coaches who have had success in New Orleans. And the roster, I think, on talent, on paper, talent-wise, might be better than it was last year. And I thought last year, before the injuries, was a really good roster. So I'm expecting the Saints to come out with a tenacious style of football. And I think for Dennis Allen, with the first 3 games being NFC South opponents, I think it's a great showcase for him to show what he can do in that lead spot. And I'm expecting a similar playing style to what we saw in the Buccaneers game, albeit not 9-0. No one wants to see a 9-0 shutout every week. That's a boring brand of football. But I think the Saints are going to play a similar style where we saw them have a balanced attack on offense when Dennis Allen was running the show. And we saw that the defense was really leading the charge. And I think when you go into a Falcons game, it's a division opponent. You're really kind of feeling each other out in that first week. I think it could be one of those where you lean on the defense early, hope to take you home in that game. So I'm expecting high-level intensity throughout the season, Dennis Allen. And I think because of the comfort, the familiarity, and being there in New Orleans for so many years, I think this is one of those seasons where the expectations will be higher than any other first-year coach, in my opinion.
What are your impressions of the matchup against the Falcons? The Saints are a pretty significant road favorite here at 5.5 points, so they're expected to win this game, and they are obviously the better roster at this point. How do you like the matchup?
Yeah, matchup-wise, I think the only thing that really scares me is how prolific of a runner can Marcus Mariota be in this game. The Saints have had, a history in the past of struggling with quarterbacks of this nature. I look at Jalen Hurts and what he's done the last 2 years against the Saints. He's done a lot of damage to them. So that would be the one concern. But other than that, I think it's a matchup that the Saints across the board are mostly winning. You look at the offensive line play of the Falcons versus the Saints defensive line. I think there's a huge advantage to the Saints defensive line in the trenches to make some noise there. But I think the real strength for the Saints, where this can come from, is running the football. And we kind of saw it last year in the regular season finale. Alvin Kamara ran all over the Falcons, 30 carries for 140-plus yards. I think we can see should see a big performance from Alvin Kamara. And if that happens, all the rest of the offense can kind of trickle down from that. You get the play-action game going. You can take those deep shots down the field to Chris Olave and Deontay Hardy. So I think for the Saints, offensively, they should be able to really, especially if Michael Thomas is out there, have their way with the Falcons defense in terms of dictating the pace, figuring out how they want to consistently move the chains. I'd probably say they'll lean heavily towards the run early, and then let Jameis Winston kind of manage his way through his first game back from his torn ACL. And then defensively, even if Paulson Adebo misses this game, this is a Falcons team that doesn't have many playmakers at the moment. I think Kyle Pitts is the one that will scare Saints fans in regards to how do you stop him, how do you game plan for him. But outside of that, Drake London's banged up right now. He may go, but again, first game, you don't really know what to expect from him. No Calvin Ridley. Russell Gage is gone. Now he's in Tampa. This is an Atlanta offense that, regardless of the Debo status, they'll probably have a tough time moving the ball against the Saints defense.
Chris, we appreciate your time. We'll look forward to talking with you again real soon, and looking forward to kicking the ball off for the 2022 season with the Saints and the Falcons on Sunday. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, we got a couple minutes left here. We'll go into the YouTube chat and take some of your questions. Ask Hanny, where would you rank the Florida State program today in terms of resources and budget? Would you still consider it a top 10 job? No, it's definitely not a top 10 job right now. Could it be? Potentially. For the recruiting base alone, this was a top 5 job. It was a top 5 program for the better part of 2 decades. So it can be, again, right now, right this second. Where's the Florida State program? Where's the Florida State job? I would say it is probably no better than the 25th best job. I mean, think about, Mike Norvell wasn't exactly he was a up-and-coming coach. He'd had some success at Memphis, but it wasn't like they could go out and do what USC did or LSU did and go hire a sitting Power 5 coach the way they did. Ask Hanny, biggest upset of the week in the NFL and the NCAA. I'll give you a couple off the top of my head. Texans +7 is interesting against the Colts. The Colts have thrown in some first-week clunkers before, and I'm starting to come around. Jimmy Ott has really kind of pushed me a little bit on Davis Mills and his development. Appears the running back made quite a splash in camp. So Texans +7. College football, I'm taking Baylor in the points. I'm taking Dave Aranda in his 3 against BYU on the road. And I'm tempted to take Houston +3.5 at Texas Tech. But you know what jumped out at me? Hawaii's catching 52 points. 52 points. I mean, the plane's going to make it to Ann Arbor, right? I know Harbaugh can name the score, but Hawaii's going to they're going to dress, right? I mean, they're actually going to be out there. 52 points, man. My goodness. Let's see. Ask Hanny, if you were Lamar Jackson's agent, what would you be advising him? This is a great question. I would have probably had him sit out at the beginning of camp, to be honest with you. At this point, he's kind of pot committed. I would have probably had him sitting out a month ago to get this resolved. Thanks to everybody for participating. For Mario and Taylor, I'm Charles Hanger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny time.
You know what? We love going out to Big Mike's. I'm going to head out to Big Mike's today for lunch. You get that ham and cheese po' boy. Part of their lunch specials, you can always get the fried catfish. You can always get the shrimp and grits. You can always get the boudin burger. You're going to get some great dishes at Mike's, Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs. If you're going out for high school football tomorrow night, know that Big Mike stays open late for everybody coming in after the game. It's kid-friendly. You can be in the restaurant part. You want to go into the bar for the adults. Floyd Brown playing in the big bar on Friday night starting at 8:30. LSU and Southern on all of the screens in the bar on Saturday night, and the DJ coming in after the game. And if you're going out to watch the Saints, it's happy hour prices all day on Sunday as the Saints kick off the 2022 season against the Atlanta Falcons. Big Mike's on Aspen Boulevard in Denham Springs.